So which of us should do the intro here? You want to intro it?
Sure.
All right, go for it.
All right. Welcome to the first podcast of Lifetime Gang or Die, better known as LTGOD. I'm your host, Cameron, alongside co-host Eli. Say what's up, Eli.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
That's $150 mic quality for you. All right. So I guess start off the first podcast. We'll talk about, what the goal of it is and kind of how we're going to work it. So about 2 weeks ago, I was watching a Lifetime movie, all right, and I realized it was horrible, like very cringy, terrible acting, and I just figured that I want to share that with everyone else, and who better to do that with than my boy Eli,
Of course.
who's one of the funniest guys I know. So that's what the podcast is about. We're going to be sitting down, talking about some Lifetime movies, rating them at the end, and just kind of transforming those movies into our podcast.
Yeah, and it should also be noted that we've kind of had this discussion for a while of, I always felt like you and I needed to have a YouTube channel or something, just with some of the little inside jokes and stuff we had going. And I felt like, this is something we could be good at. And I think we draw a lot of inspiration from some of the creators we watch, but yeah, I'm excited to see how this goes. So
definitely. And this is our first time, so go easy.
Episode number 1. I don't know if anybody's going to hear this. Chrislyn, if you're listening, hello. That's at least one listener there. But Cam, you want to tell us about the movie we selected for this one?
Yeah. So deciding on which movie to go with, we wanted to ensure that both of us could watch it, obviously, and that the viewers at home could also watch it. So we looked at what Lifetime movies were on Netflix and Hulu and other popular streaming platforms. And one that caught my eye was titled My Teacher, My Obsession. And let me tell you, it is fantastic. All right.
Great movie.
Great movie. Released in 2018, Lifetime production. And I mean, I guess with that, we can go ahead and get into the movie.
Yeah. Do you have any initial thoughts you want to share on this movie? Like anything general before we kind of dive into it?
Yeah, I mean, I've watched a lot of Lifetime movies in my lifetime. And this is definitely one of the better ones, I think.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, definitely. I think, Lifetime has kind of got their act together in more recent years. They've upped production value, gotten some pretty big names in terms of actors. This one doesn't have any big names that scream out at you, but definitely thought the acting was still pretty good.
I gotta agree with you there. I think the acting was not bad. I think there were some. I think the main character Kyla kind of towards the beginning was a little like hollow almost. Felt like she was just like reading her lines, but kind of towards the end, I think she picked it up a bit. But that was one of maybe the redeeming qualities of the movie was the acting was above average, I would say. But it's kind of a general thought. Like, I think the movie's downfall was just the number of plot holes it had. like I was just writing down so many things where it's how did they get to this point, or like you're telling me nobody noticed this one like detail or whatever, but maybe that was me being too picky, but
No,
the,
I
the no,
I'll go
please
ahead.
continue. I insist.
I was just gonna say, totally agree with you. A lot of plot holes.
Yeah, yeah, okay. But I lost my train of thought. What was it? I think like this movie wasn't like comedically bad, you know? Like I don't think I can sit here and like make fun of it. It's more like it was bad in the sense that there just like it fell short on a lot of things. There wasn't anything, you know, especially absurd. Well, there were some absurd moments for sure, but I don't think there was anything where, you know, I was like, I think there's only maybe one moment during the movie where I like laughed at something where I was like, it was supposed to be a serious moment. I laughed at it, but
Yeah,
I
I will.
I wouldn't say it was comedically bad. You know, I think it just kind of was like structurally bad or something. You know.
I will be honest. I laughed throughout the entire movie,
Yeah.
but I did.
Okay.
There was
Okay. I'm interested to see. Yeah. I'm interested to hear some of
yeah. I've got
your main
some
points here.
notes down. I'll let you know when I laughed. But
Okay.
was it the first Lifetime movie you've ever sat down and watched?
That's a good question because I I'm not sure. There has to be other Lifetime movies I've seen, you know. But if you ask me like which Lifetime movies I've seen, I don't think I'd be able to answer because I'm not really sure. Like just watching this, I wasn't necessarily aware that it was a Lifetime movie. You know, like what defines a Lifetime movie? Is that like the production company or is it a
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a
So
channel?
yeah, it's a network and they produce their own movies. So
Okay, okay.
yeah, it's unbelievable how many movies they've produced over the years. Like I don't know when they started. That'd be an interesting thing to find out. But yeah, I mean they've easily hit at least 200, if not more.
Sheesh.
But yeah,
Yeah, I would think there's got to be some I've seen, but this is yeah, knowing this was a Lifetime movie, I think I've got a pretty good idea of how Lifetime movies usually are.
yeah, that's one of the. I don't know if it's a redeeming quality or if it's a downfall, but there are a few central themes in all Lifetime movies, and they're pretty
Hmm.
much the same.
Okay, I could
Yeah,
probably guess what those are. You know, yeah, I think there are a lot of like movie tropes in this one that are probably pretty common. You know, in
yeah,
in Lifetime movies, I'm sure. Pretty high production though. You know, I'm sure they
definitely.
had a sizable budget that went into this. I mean, the camera work was pretty good, and it had some things going for it, but I don't know how
Definitely.
many of them actually had to do with like the content. But we should just start from the beginning here. Yeah, what did you think of the? So for those who have not seen the movie, which out of anybody listening to this, I'm guessing you have not seen it. But the movie opens with this scene. The janitor. So there's a school, right? And the janitor's there in the school, and he's shutting it down for the night. He turns off all the lights. Hears a noise. Goes to investigate. There's a girl on the ground. She says something to him. He says she's injured, very clearly injured. He goes out and he tells her he's going to go get help. Which, if the school is closed at this point, I don't know who's going to help her. But he leaves the room and goes outside to get help. And this girl, she's got like bloody hands or whatever, grabs him and says run. And then it like cuts to the intro or whatever. But that's how it opens. Quite the strong opening, if I may say.
I would have to agree with you.
Yeah,
I mean, if that doesn't draw you in, I mean, I don't know what will.
it absolutely drew me in. I was expecting you know, like a Danny Gonzalez type of video where he's, you know, reviewing like a Christmas movie that's all happy and like family friendly. Instead, it opened this way. I was not aware that this was going to be like a thriller, but
Okay.
yeah,
You
that shocked me. I was writing notes at the very beginning here, and right when it was Riley, one of the main characters that grabs him and says like run. Right, that jump scare really got me, and my pencil like shot across my page. So they got me there.
so by the title My Teacher, My Obsession, you thought it was just gonna be a happy story of a student, falling in love with the professor and then
Yes, exactly. That's what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be some kind of like, forbidden love story or something. Instead,
okay.
it turned into whatever the hell this movie was.
Who knows? Maybe Lifetime's listening in. If you want to make that movie, please do.
Hey, yeah, Lifetime, hit me up. I could direct and produce a much sunnier version of this movie if you're interested. So,
Yeah, I have zero production experience, but let me tell
yeah,
you,
I have
I'm,
absolutely no experience whatsoever.
I'm a creative mind. I'll work magic on the set.
So it cuts to the opening credits right after that, which are also, they've got this like creepy music going in the background, and the opening credits, they're showing like the names of the actors and producers or whatever, and there's this like red background, and they got like unsettling photos up and stuff. They're really setting the mood for this to be like a like a creepy movie, in a lot of ways. And then it immediately cuts to I think it's Riley and her dad like either pull up to their new house, or they're there in their new house getting ready for school or something, right?
Yeah, and let me tell you, upon first glance of Riley's dad,
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
That okay. Listen, this guy. So they make this guy out to be her dad, right? She's supposed to be like a high school student. She definitely like she passes for a high school student, I would say. But her dad, like looking at him, I was like, why is this dude like 30 years old? I look up the actor, and now we're in 2020 now. So at time of filming, he was 45 years old. This dude is pushing 50 now and looks like he's 30
Yeah,
easily. Like
man.
this guy could pass for 30 years old. They cast like the hottest dude they could find to be her dad. And he's an English teacher. He is a yoked English teacher. And this dude could not find work other than being an English teacher, apparently.
Yeah, and throughout the movie, they definitely abuse his looks.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They know. Well, I mean, that's kind of the central theme, right? Is like this guy is so incredibly like desirable that like the students even want him or whatever. But
That is very true.
yeah, real very good looking dude. He was Blade in the Dodgeball movie. He was one of like the Globo Gym
No way.
dodgeball players. Yeah. Yeah, I looked him up, and his like one of his credits was Blade in the Dodgeball movie. So,
Good for him.
yeah, he's
Honestly, that's a career pivot right there.
right.
Feature films to Lifetime
Mhm.
movies.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good
That's
for him.
a bit of a change. What was the other point I was going to make about him? To me, he looked like I got like Harvey Dent vibes, from like
Mhm.
the Christian Bale Batman series, the Dark Knight specifically. He looked like a very handsome Harvey Dent to me, like
Okay.
very very good looking dude. I don't know his name off the top of my head, but yeah, listeners, look him
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, I was gonna say, he's got an interesting look. He's
Mm-hmm.
like appearance wise, kind of almost rugged, but also,
Yeah, yeah,
you know,
100%.
kind of similar to what you're rocking right now, Eli.
Oh, yeah, is that so? I think his beard was a little more it was a very clean beard, kept it pretty short, kind of you know, very well groomed for sure. He's an Australian, that I remember.
I was
you
gonna
know?
say he reminded me of like a Liam Hemsworth.
Oh
So
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. He looks Australian for sure. Yeah.
yeah,
But
yeah, you'll see in the movie more of him, to say the least.
yes. Yes, that's for sure. And we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Yeah, just that opening scene where they're in the car getting ready for school was a little cringe, I would say.
Yeah,
But
he's like, or Riley doesn't want to go out, or she wants to stay in the car because she doesn't want to be seen with her dad, which is fair. Like,
right.
I've never had a parent be a teacher at my school, but
hmm
I don't think I would want to be seen with my teacher parent on the first day of class.
I could imagine that being pretty tough, especially if you're from out of town and you're like the new kid, you know, and you're coming in with like a new teacher as well. Like that I could see that being an awkward situation to be put in. I'm not sure how it was for my siblings when my mom was teaching at their school, because I had already left middle school before my mom started teaching at the school she's at now. But all three of my siblings went through there, and I don't think I think it was fine for them. I don't think it was like weird at all, but I could see how,
Mm-hmm.
maybe you don't want that to be your first impression, is like being like the hot teacher's kid.
Yeah,
And they look nothing alike, may I say.
nothing.
Does not look like father and daughter.
Yeah,
That guy is smoking, and his daughter is average looking at best, I would say. No offense to whoever the actress is. If you're listening to this,
yeah.
not trying to offend you at all, but
Casting could have done a little better there.
yeah, they could have at least,
At least like maybe have Trisha be the daughter.
yeah, that probably would have worked. That maybe would have
They still
worked.
don't look alike.
I don't think they look alike, no.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that guy is like, he's the eye candy of the movie for sure.
Of course.
And we will get to that because you will see more of him.
We might get to that, or we might just talk for 30 more minutes about how hot this guy is.
We could just make podcasts about like the best looking actor in the film, But
Oh my gosh.
so yeah, okay. So they're at school,
Mhm.
and so at this point we're introduced to Kyla, right? The kind
Yeah.
of independent
Very indie. Yeah.
yearbook club kind of loner is how
Mhm.
she comes off. And it shows her just sitting there like taking pictures of students at whatever event they're at, which is a little odd to begin with because
Yeah. What was the event even?
I don't know. It was not clear.
It was like a mixer.
Yeah, it was like a weird like first day mixer or something. And she's just there taking picture of people without them like knowing. And I think that's when I think Trish is introduced pretty early on too. Like she comes up to the girls like, take my picture.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, like take our picture.
You're like yearbook. Take our picture.
Trisha is the most like stereotypical character in this movie. She's like, they
100%.
immediately make her out to be like the popular, like rich bully girl with blonde hair and like super made up and all this stuff, and she's just immediately a bitch to Kyla just like right away. But this is one of like the plot holes for me. She acts like she doesn't really know who Kyla is, but then later on she's like accusing Kyla of all this stuff, and it's like, well, how did you know these things about Kyla, but then you're acting like, oh, you're just who's this random yearbook chick, like, hey, take our photo or whatever.
Yeah, it could be like a reputation thing. She doesn't want to be seen as knowing the yearbook girl. So she
That
acts
could
like
be
she doesn't know her.
right. Yeah,
But really, they used to be really good friends.
that could be. Yeah, that could be.
I guess we'll never know though, unless we talk to the producer.
I don't think they were ever friends, just based on some of their other interactions. But
Yeah.
so Riley's dad is the English teacher at the school. He's the new English teacher at the school. He's a super handsome dude. Has absolutely no business being an English teacher at a high school. But so this Trisha, like, bully type girl sees Riley's dad, the new English teacher, and is talking about how she wants to like take a bite out of that burger or whatever. Like, I want a piece of that meat or something.
Yeah.
And she says she's gonna have him wrapped around her little finger. Like, what kind of like school is this, dude?
Yeah. Is
You
it like
know?
socially acceptable to just, manipulate your teachers?
It must be, because she seemed like she was bragging about it or something. Very,
And
very
her friends were
strange.
just her friends were just egging her on too.
Yeah,
It's
they're like, hell yeah. They're like, yeah, get him.
yeah, that's sick.
and when it, I think it gets to English class pretty soon after that, and she's being very openly flirty with him, and he's just completely oblivious to it. And yeah, so the whole like plot of this movie is that this Kyla girl, this yearbook girl, is also develops this obsession with the English teacher. So
which is interesting, because from the first few scenes you'd think it's Trisha, because she's open, flirty, talking about how she can do whatever she wants, and Sumner won't care. Who is Riley's Mr. Sumner?
Yeah, Mr. Sumner. Yeah, Chris Sumner.
That's just a great English teacher name.
Oh, absolutely.
Didn't he have like John Lennon stuff up on the chalkboard, or is that later? I think I'm like.
I don't know if it's up on the chalkboard, but for sure Trisha was on her phone, and he goes up and like takes her phone, and he's like, "Oh, what music do you listen to?" or something.
Yes.
And he's asking everybody, and of course they're like, "Oh, Bruno Mars, Rihanna," like all these popular names. And then he says he doesn't know who Big Sean is, as if Big Sean is some kind of like underground rapper that, like, 100,000 people listen to or something. It's like,
oh my gosh, yeah, I remember.
Don't know that one. This guy is he comes off very smart though, because they have him, making all these. I don't want to say exaggeratory, but he makes these really like profound statements about like life or whatever in their first English class. He's like preaching to them, but at the same time is just completely oblivious to what's like going on around him, which is just ridiculous.
Yeah, there's that dichotomy. Very interesting.
Yeah.
And like in the meantime, he's still trying to be the cool teacher, as they say.
That's true. Yeah.
Because he's trying to win them over. He doesn't want to be sucked all over, like what Trevor wants to be doing.
And he does a good job of it. He does come off as a very cool teacher.
Yeah, I don't think I ever had a teacher tell me to pull out my phone in school.
I don't know if I've ever talked to a teacher about, like music or whatever. Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of how it develops, is like Trisha's got this obsession with him, and so does Kyla. Kyla's also got an obsession. Yeah. Trisha makes it extremely obvious, but not in the way that Kyla does. Yeah,
the movie sets up really well for character conflict between the two of them, and as we'll see later in the movie, things get heated.
They come to blows. It moves on to, I believe, Riley being Mr. Sumner's daughter is in the computer room, right? And Kyla walks in on her. Is that what happens next?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, that's when their relationship develops, because what were they even doing? Like, what was Riley doing in there?
Riley was like doing something with like drawing, or like it was something with art, and Kyla picks up on it, and they get into like a discussion of, oh, you're into photography, I'm into drawing. Like,
she's in a computer lab drawing.
Yeah, it does. Again, I don't think she was using the computer.
No.
Pretty sure she was in there with like a sketchbook or something. But
Oh my gosh.
this is
Yeah.
that interaction was one of the ones where I was like, this acting is poor, because like it was like a job interview or something, you know. Kyla's like,
Yeah.
how do you like being at this new school? How was
There's
your
another.
life before this?
I don't know if it was this one or another one between two characters that hadn't met, and and the one character was like, "Tell me about yourself." I'm
Hmm.
like, "What? This is
It's
a job interview."
I want to say that sounds like it was Kyla and Riley, because so it gets to the point they're getting along, and they kind of hit it off in a very like professional way almost, you know. Like they're asking each
Almost
other
like they
these like
start their own podcast.
yeah, they're asking each other these very like structured questions, and but they hit it off, and Kyla's like, hey, can I like come study with you sometime? She says, I'm gonna need a lot of help in that English class, you know. It's like,
Okay.
what help do you need with English? Do you not speak English? what
Yeah,
what help are you gonna need?
we've already seen from the first day that she's very intelligent.
Yeah. She like, but Riley is not capable of picking up on this, you know. To her, she's like, okay, we're gonna be friends.
Yeah, she has no friends. She's the new girl. She
Hmm.
doesn't.
Hmm.
She wants all the friends she can get.
It's also important to note that when Kyla and Riley are talking, she asks her what her last name is for the yearbook, and she says Sumner. That this is before she says, hey, can I like come over to study sometime or whatever. So
Right.
she finds out that this girl is Mr. Sumner's daughter, as if no one in the school has any clue that this is Mr. Sumner's daughter, which is absurd because they literally drive into the parking lot together and walk into school together like every day. Every time it shows them, they go into school together. Like, you're telling me if somebody at my school, if one of their parents was a teacher, everyone knew
Oh yeah.
without question. Even if there was
Oh,
a new kid came in and it was, hey, this new kid and their parent are going to be here. Like, and Riley acts as if it's this big secret that she doesn't want anyone to know, and she does like such a good job of hiding it, and apparently nobody knows about it, and she's all shocked anytime someone confronts her and says like, oh, Mr. Sumner's your dad.
that does gotta suck though, being associated like that.
Yeah, I mean, but still, like, even like despite the circumstance, I don't see how no one would know about it, you know. And even Mr. Sumner's, he says to her when it cuts to that scene of them in their house, he's like, "Oh, so I'm your dirty little secret," or something like that. It's like, no, it all it takes is for one person to find out what Riley's last name is, and they know.
Yeah,
It's not like you
that's
guys
true.
have different last names or something. Like,
Yeah, and
how is it a big secret?
and when she when she finds out when Kyla finds out that Riley is the daughter of Mr. Sumner,
Hmm.
that's when she's like, okay, yeah, I need help with English. So it's
Right?
pretty.
Yeah. Yeah.
So going back to the central theme that these two girls want Mr.
Hmm.
Sumner.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't think this video is going to be monetized, so we can probably drop a couple
Well,
curse words here and there.
yeah, you never know.
We'll get picked up as like a Google partner or whatever, and fully monetize our channel, hopefully right off the bat. So that's the
Yeah,
goal.
well, we don't want to we don't want to make YouTube bad, or well, Google, but
Hmm. Hmm.
you know, oh well.
We'll try to
Anyway,
we'll try to keep it as clean as we can, in case we
it's a
have any younger listeners too. You
it's a
know.
family show.
Yeah, it's a family show.
We'll,
It's a family show.
we'll keep it to the same rating that the movie's at, and I think
Okay. Okay.
the movie's PG-13, I think, or is it
Is
M?
it?
Is it?
I feel
Oh,
like that movie had to have been R. But I mean,
I don't remember seeing a
I
rating.
don't
To be
even
honest,
know if it has a rating at all.
it's
Let me
just a
try to
lifetime.
Google it here.
The rating is LT.
The rating is Lifetime.
Yeah.
Check out this one IMDb review. Not awful, just not good. as a horror, it's awful, but as a comedy, it's okay. I don't think this movie was gone for comedy. Teacher is the best actor. I can agree with that. I think like despite him probably being cast for how good looking he is, I think he did a pretty damn good job of acting.
Oh,
You know,
definitely.
yeah,
I mean, imagine having to be the teacher that sleeps with his student as an actor. It's got to be tough.
yeah. I've always wondered what that's like for people in roles like that. You know, where you're like a 45-year-old and Kyla's like 20 or whatever. You know, and you have to like shoot an intimate scene with them or whatever.
Yeah.
I know it's just acting, and I know that's like part of being an actor is being able to do stuff like that because that's your job basically. But that's got to be weird, right? Like,
Especially with how intimate it gets.
yeah.
Anyway, getting back to the scene following uh, the interaction between Kyla and Riley,
Mm-hmm,
they
mm-hmm.
actually do uh, have a study session at
Yes.
Riley's house,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yep.
conveniently for Kyla,
Yeah.
and like they don't even study, like they're just getting to know each other, which is fair.
Yeah. Again, in the same kind of professional manner of where they're asking each other these questions of like, you know, what do you do for work? You know, what do you do for fun? It's
And
like a very the dynamic between them is not a typical like, you know,
high
high
school,
school friendship.
yeah. I remember one of the lines they're talking about boyfriends and like past experiences.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Kyla says, "The boys here are just boys,"
Yeah, that was a good that was a good quote.
which just sets you up for her trying to get Mr. Sumner again.
She says she needs someone like who can handle her or something like that, right? She's like, I
Yep.
need someone who's mature and can handle this or something like
Yeah.
that.
And then immediately after she says that, she asks Riley about her dad and his dad.
Yeah, yeah. What was it? Like if you're just meeting someone, you're not gonna like ask them like, let's say when I first met you, I wasn't like, so what's your mom's dating history like, you know? Like that's not something you do when you just meet someone. She like asks her if she has a mom, but she doesn't ask. She's like, so is your mom around? Like that would be, I think, kind of normal. But
Yeah.
instead she says, is there a Mrs. Sumner?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yep.
at this point it's not even foreshadowing or anything, it's just so blatantly obvious, but like everyone is so oblivious to all the hints that like that Kyla drops. It's just ridiculous, you know. Like there has to be some kind of suspension of disbelief or something in order to watch this movie, I feel like, because it's like I think any normal person would pick up on like, you like into my dad or something. And it's not like Riley doesn't know her dad is good looking, you know. If I
Yeah.
had a smoking hot dad, I think I would be aware of that. You know, no, there's no like attraction there or anything, but you can acknowledge like, yeah, like my dad is a good looking person. You know,
Yeah. Like I better watch my friends around him.
yeah, I better make sure my friends aren't like hitting on this dude or asking about his like dating history or whatever.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And then Riley's like, oh, I have to go to the bathroom, and Kyla's like, oh, this is the perfect time for me to go and snoop around
And you
and
want to
go
know what
and
she does? She
yeah, please.
smells his sheets. I mean, come on.
And she takes her sweet ass time getting there too. It's not like like Riley goes in the restroom and she's like, okay, I can like run up and check out her dad's bathroom or bedroom real quick. She's like walking around and like looking at their pictures and like taking her time. It's like, what was Riley in there for like 40 minutes? If somebody told me they were going to the restroom, I'd be like, okay, I'll just chill here because you're going to be back in 30 seconds, you know? Instead, she has, and it cuts away. It doesn't even show them like, it doesn't show Riley come back out and like talk to her or anything. It just cuts away and it's like, oh yeah, like Kyla got away with it. Kyla was in there like sniffing her dad's bed sheets and nothing happened. So don't worry about it. Moving on. Yeah. So
Yeah.
what happens when it cuts back to the school?
Yeah, so I think everyone's doing their own thing, like either taking a test or something, and then Trisha's pencil breaks.
Yep.
And I mean, Lifetime could have done better on this one. The sound of the pencil breaking sounded like she snapped a tibia. Like I've never heard a pencil break like that.
Just a loud crack in the middle of a dead silent classroom.
Yeah. And
And
also,
it shows her pencil and it looks like the lead and everything is still there. You know, it's not like the pencil was split in half or anything.
yeah,
And
and
why wasn't Mr. Sumner like, oh, go sharpen it or something, you know?
yeah, she asks him for a pencil, and
Yeah.
he's like, "Oh no, you gotta have a backup, right?"
Yeah.
And
It's
she's
just like,
like, "No."
I don't believe in backups or something like that. I know what I want.
Yeah,
Again, she is just so clearly hitting on him. Like they make it so blatantly obvious, but for some reason, Mr. Sumner just has, you know, no idea that this, and she's like rubbing her, like, she like puts the pencil in her shirt or something.
yes,
And she's like, after he gives it to her and she's like doing it. And he's just sitting there like, yeah, you gotta have a backup. How do you not pick up on that, you know?
he's trying to see the good in the world.
Yeah, that's his problem. You know, that's like
That's his
that's his
character flaw.
weakness. Yeah, that's his character flaw is that he's too believing and he holds humans to too high of a standard and expects, you know, that they'll meet a certain like moral threshold or something. But in reality, like two of the girls in his class are just absolute deviants. So just ridiculous. That whole scene was just ridiculous. This whole movie's ridiculous. So what can I say?
Also funny related to that scene when she was asking for, or when she was talking about how like I get what I want.
Yeah.
Something about goals came about, and she's like, "Oh, I don't need to set goals" or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
So Mr.
Yeah.
Stone just completely put her in the dirt with one of his lines. He was like, "Oh, you're never gonna reach your goals." I was just dying.
Yeah. Hey, Mr. Sumner brings the heat sometimes, you know?
Like, I do. I can't imagine a teacher on one of the first days of class just roasting their students.
Right.
But then again, the students he's dealing with, I guess I would want to do that too.
Yeah. Yeah. I understand. I mean, I probably would have done the same thing in a situation. But if I was in a situation, I think I'd be aware of two students like openly hitting on me, but apparently he's not. Um so something else to point out that we kind of missed was Riley's going to plan a party at her house for her
Mm.
18th birthday.
Yeah, and we
And
also found out Kyla is 19 or turning 19.
yes, right. She's already 18. Yeah.
Correct. So that's
Even though
important.
she's like she's born like 4 days after Riley or 4 days before or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, she's older. Right.
Mhm.
And she talks about how, "Oh, you got to have a party for your 18th birthday."
Yeah,
I
and
went all out for mine.
there's no way she did based on her character and what she likes.
You don't have any friends.
Yeah.
What party were you throwing for your 18th birthday? Riley's your only friend. You don't have any other friends. You just drink alone in your room and call that going all out. And not to mention, who makes a big fucking deal out of their 18th birthday? Like maybe this is just me, but when I was in high school, I turned 18. I don't even know if I had a party or anything.
Yeah.
I think it was just another day at school for me, you know? I also didn't drink in high school, so like, you know, I was never involved in that scene. Never went to I would avoid going to parties and stuff, but like that was strange to me too that they're like, "Oh, it's your 18th birthday. You got to get fucked up, dude."
Go.
Come on.
Yeah, I did find that strange. I think for my 18th birthday, I literally just like went to Golfland or something stupid like
Oh,
that.
that's sick. That's a party right there. You
And
went all
for
out.
the viewers that aren't from Arizona, that's a putt-putt facility.
I don't think I went to Golfland at all when I was still in AZ. It was right by my house, wasn't it?
What?
Wasn't there a Golfland like right by my house?
Yeah.
Yeah. I never went.
Minutes.
Went to Top Golf a lot, but anyway, that's not what this podcast is about. No, it's not much to be done in Golfland.
Not much to write home about Golfland.
Sorry, Golfland, if you're listening to this podcast,
please sponsor.
We have nothing against you. We'd love a sponsorship, or if you want to come on the podcast, like we'd be glad to have you as a guest. But okay.
Attendance right now is probably poor, but we'd love to help you guys out.
Yes. But okay. So I just want to briefly make fun of the scene with Kyla and her mom, because she gets home and her mom's like on the bike or whatever, and she's like, "Oh, you stink. Like, don't talk to me until you take a shower." So her mom just hops in the shower like right in front of her.
Yeah.
I
was very.
Are people that comfortable with their parents? Like her mom just okay, just gets naked and showers for about 15 seconds, mind you. Just no soap or anything. Just gets in and rinses and gets out.
Yeah.
And Kyla's just standing there while she like gets out and is like, just, I don't know. Maybe I'm kind of undermining the creative genius of this this film. Maybe this is supposed to show kind of the dynamic that Kyla and her mom have and how it's abnormal, like kind of like a Bates Motel type dynamic or something. But
yeah, interesting to point out. And I think in that scene, she asks Kyla if she got any mail, referring to college admissions letter.
Right.
And Kyla just snubs her off. She's like, no.
Yeah, she's all rude about it, and Kyla has only applied to one school.
Mm-hmm.
She wants to do journalism or whatever, but she's only applied to one school.
Mm-hmm.
And for whatever reason, she thinks that's a good plan.
Yeah, and this is brought up more than you'd think.
Quite often, yeah.
It actually becomes a.
Well, okay. So the next person to bring this up to her is Mr. Sumner, right?
Yeah.
But the question is, how does Mr. Sumner find this out about her? One way or another, Kyla's at home with her mom. Doorbell rings. She's like, "Oh, is that him?" Goes and opens the door. And guess who it is? It's Mr. Sumner. Who would have thought? Who would have expected this incredible plot twist?
How small is this town where they're the only two single people?
I think there must be about 50 people in this town, with half of them being the high school students.
There's more high schoolers than there are single parents.
Yeah. Well, and then there, of course, Kyla's got this trope of like her dad's in jail or something, and Riley's got this trope of, oh, my mom cheated on my dad, and we had to move here so he could get a fresh start and all this stuff. It's like, okay. Same old. I'm sure this is one of the things where I'm like, this has to be super common in like Lifetime films. Yeah. It's this trope of like, oh, like a spouse got cheated on, or they're in jail or dead or whatever. Because no one has both parents. It's just not a thing anymore. No one has two parents.
I mean, they're not wrong.
What, like a 51% divorce rate or something, right? Yeah.
Crazy.
I guess they're hitting the nail on the head. But okay. So he comes over, he's there for the date, and
this date is hilarious. So everything you can think of went wrong. Like nothing goes right about this date. In Mr. Sumner and Kyla's mom's perspective.
So apparently Kyla's mom and Mr. Sumner just go on dates and don't talk, because Kyla's mom has no clue that he's an English teacher at a high school.
Right.
Because he shows up and she's like, "Oh, this is your teacher? No way."
Yeah.
They're like dumbfounded, and it's like, did you not tell Mr. Sumner your last name? Or Chris, maybe we should call him Chris.
Right.
Did you not tell Chris your last name? Did he not, connect the dots that you were Kyla's mom? How did Kyla's mom not figure out that you were a teacher at the school that her kid goes to? That my parents always knew the last names of each of my teachers, like, oh, I had Mr. Penn for math or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
I would think that Kyla was like, oh yeah, there's this new teacher, Mr. Sumner. He's my English teacher, but apparently they don't have any kind of discussion. I don't think anybody talks to each other about like actual things in this
That
town.
just goes to show, their disconnected relationship.
Yeah, that's what the show is really building up, and it just went over my head apparently.
Yeah, and even before that, when at the door, Mr. Sumner bringing the flowers,
Mm-hmm.
like Kyla's mom was so unappreciative of them. She was just like,
yeah, what the hell? She's like, oh, go find a vase.
Yeah.
I don't even think she said thank you.
She wasn't smiling. She was like, oh.
And oh my God. And then there's this whole thing. I don't want to spend too much time on this scene because it's just exactly how you think it would be. But they're like, she's like, oh, is this going to be awkward for you, Kyla? And Kyla's like, no, it's fine. And then they're like, oh, join us on our date. And they're like, there's so much like sexual tension between her mom and the teacher just right in front of her,
Right.
It's like, you guys couldn't like, he tells her like, she says something to him and he's like, oh, I can't wait to see where this is going to lead. And it's like, you just said that right in front of her, like 18-year-old daughter, bro. Like, maybe don't, maybe save it for later when you're alone.
Yeah. And
Kyla's been fantasizing about him this whole time too, which is important to note.
Yep. I think we've already seen the fact that she's taken numerous pictures of him.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Her photography plays a big role. She's always like snapping photos of him without him knowing. And and then God. And then, so Kyla tries to sabotage the relationship between her mom and Chris because she wants Chris really fucking badly.
Yeah.
She's just obsessed with this.
If she can have Chris, no one can. Not even her mom.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So during this date, she like, she's doing different things to sabotage it. Chris and her mom are making out on the couch, and she comes down and she's like, there was someone watching me while I was changing in my room or something. And Chris runs outside and he's like, oh, there's no one here. We got to call the police and all this stuff. And she's like, no, don't. Like, I'm sure like it's fine or whatever. And just like, she does, a couple, like she asks them if she can join them on the date she spills, water on him or something, right?
Yeah.
Just walks up and dumps it on him like, oh, oops.
Well, yeah, that's what forced them to have to
stay. Yeah, right.
Because
I kind of skipped over that. Yeah, right.
But then
she gets him to stay at home.
Spilling water on him. Mastermind.
So for some unbeknownst reason, Kyla's mom decides it's a good reason to tell Chris that he can use Kyla's shower.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Kyla's mom's like, so I'm not going to tell Kyla, but just go and just use her shower, leave the door unlocked, do your thing.
What? And obviously Kyla walks in on him.
Yeah, no shocker, right? Nobody saw that coming. And okay, I don't want to get distracted by this guy, but he has like a 12-pack of abs.
Yeah.
He's a model. Like he's a model. He's not even like an actor first. He's a model first and like an actor second. This dude is ripped. As soon as he takes off his little like teacher sport jacket, you see these veins in his arms and like this insane 6-pack of abs. And of course, Kyla walks in and sees him naked and he's like, oh, close the door. And she's like sitting there staring at him for like 30 seconds. Okay, closes the door. Big awkward moment. And then he has to drive her to school and like briefly mentions, about this morning. She's like, oh, it's But, her mom was the one that told him it was okay. And I guess he thought, like, he knew Kyla had school that day, but I guess in his head, he was like, oh, Kyla's not going to be up today. She's not going to use her bathroom. I'll just leave it unlocked.
Yeah.
Whoever wants to can come in here.
He likes the adrenaline rush of, not knowing if someone's going to walk in on him.
Yeah, that's like
Honestly,
his kink or something.
I think that's exactly what he wanted to happen.
It could have been,
He wanted her to see how shredded he is.
Yeah. And let me tell you, this dude is shredded. But anyway, okay.
Yeah. So Mr. Sumner or Chris drives Kyla to school.
Yes.
And this is when he finds out that she only applied to one school for journalism. And then she's telling him about her photography. And then he interrupts her and says, I always see you with that camera.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And
she says, like, oh, are you watching me or something like that?
No, she's like, you see me?
Oh, yeah, that's what it is. It's like, oh, no, when he's walking around school, he's just walking around like,
yeah.
Where's my classroom?
It's like, he's your teacher. Yeah, of course he does.
You're in his fucking class. Dude, do you not bring your camera with you to class? If you bring your camera with you to class, I think he sees that, you know? And then there's this, like, they're making this big deal about college as if, like, okay, I get it. Applying to one school is probably not a good idea. But unless you're applying to, like, Harvard, there's usually a pretty good chance you're going to get in if you have, like, an okay, like, ACT score or whatever and, like, good grades.
Yeah.
Like, I only applied to 3 schools, I think.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it's that big of a deal. But they're acting like she was going to, like, die or something if she didn't apply to more schools. And that he's like chiding her for it and all this stuff and talking about how her overconfidence is bad. And when did she tell him that she got in? Is it when he's like chiding her? I think it is, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. And then she's like, yeah, I don't want to tell my mom because what'd she say? Because I'm worried that she'll get lonely without me. It's like, you already are super disconnected from your mom. Like,
do you think your mom wants you to not get into college so that you have to stay at home?
If anything, she wants you to leave.
And your mom doesn't know anything about you, dude.
Yeah.
Like, give me a break. Okay, let me jump ahead a little bit while we're on this topic. Her mom is, like, shocked that she got, like, into this relationship with Mr. Sumner. It's like, but Kyla did the same fucking thing with her history teacher. And why is she still at the same school?
I know.
They didn't expel her or anything? Like, they fired the guy.
Yeah.
Like,
okay, so
maybe we'll get to it, but
yeah. Well, for some context.
Yeah.
So Trisha and Riley actually start talking and getting to know each other because Trisha wants Mr. Sumner as well.
Right, and she's like inviting Riley to hang out.
Yeah, and Trisha tells Riley about Kyla's past with said history teacher.
Yes.
And how she was the reason he was fired because they were, I don't know if they were sleeping together or.
Yeah, she says they were like hanging out. They were spending a lot of time together after school or something like that. And that's about all she really says.
Yeah.
But they get rid of him for that reason. Which presumably, if they knew that something was going on between the two of them, you're going to be like, oh, you know what? We'll get rid of the teacher, but you can stay here.
So, yeah, surely she would be, expelled or,
I would think, but what do I know about running a school? So, yeah, there's some other, like, plot details that aren't really that important. But so we get to the point where, Mr. Sumner and her mom are having another date at their house for some reason. And for whatever reason, Kyla's just up in her bedroom, like, with them. And he's, like, taking a shower or something. He's doing something. And Kyla's just hanging out with them because she's trying to sabotage it. So I guess it makes sense, but it's still weird to be like, oh yeah, daughter, like come hang out with me and this dude that I'm like sleeping with that I know nothing about apparently. And her mom like makes fun of him for being a teacher at one point. She's like, I didn't think you'd be an English teacher. And he's like, why is that funny to you?
Right.
Like, you picked up on that? You picked up on the fact that she was making fun of you, but you couldn't pick up on the fact that fucking
Her
Trisha
daughter.
and her daughter want to like suck your dick or whatever, dude. Like, come on. So Kyla's up there and he left his phone open, and apparently he left his phone open on the screen. Apparently his phone just opens up to the messages he's currently receiving. But so she looks at his phone and she's like, whoa, Mom, like you got to read this. It's from Trisha from school. And her mom's like, no, it's his phone. Like, leave it alone. Like, why are you reading his messages? She takes it away from her. And
but it's okay for Kyla to read it.
Yeah, apparently Kyla can pry, but her mom just wants to, like be like, no, I can't see anything. It's like, what? Kyla already read it, dude. Like, what? But so she convinces her mom to read them, and it's like, Trisha is texting her or texting Mr. Sumner, being like, I'm touching I want to touch myself under my desk or something, and she's like spamming him with messages. And so Kyla's mom gets all mad at him. They get in this big fight. He's like, I have never texted a student. And he's all
wants to hear none of it.
Yeah, she was like, get the fuck out of here. She's like, get out. I am not hearing this. Did not give him a chance to explain at all, even though he had not sent her any messages. There was no sent messages.
Yeah.
And,
he was guilty until proven innocent.
I like, if my girlfriend was getting messages from some dude being like, hey, like I want to like, bang you or something, but like she hadn't sent him any messages and it's just like a random number or whatever, I'd be like, okay, like just block him,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna like break up with you because of something I don't know any details about. But of course it turns out Kyla's sending the messages. So somehow Kyla had his phone number. Who knows how she got it? Who knows how his phone was open? And who knows how she was able to get in there and change this burner phone she had. Because it's in his contacts as Trisha.
Yeah.
Either he changed it at some point or she got in there. Again, maybe I'm not supposed to question everything, but. And another thing I want to bring up. When on the first date, they're at dinner and Kyla's on her phone and her mom's like, hey, what are you doing on your phone? Like, if you're going to do that, like you got something you want to tell us or whatever. It's like, what? You're mad at your daughter for being on her phone during your date?
Yeah.
What? God.
Well, getting to know Mr. Sumner is just as important for Kyla because,
right.
He could be her potential father.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh God. Oh boy. Yeah. Okay. Well, so yeah, point is Kyla successfully sabotages their relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So Mr. Sumner's all broken up about it. He goes outside and just sits in his truck because that's what you do when you're upset. You just go
outside of the house that he just got
right outside of the house that he just got kicked out of. Yeah. And Kyla's like, oh, this is a perfect opportunity for me to go out there. And her mom has no idea that she left the house. Her mom didn't see her. Her mom didn't know that she walked out the front door to her ex-boyfriend. And Kyla goes up and taps on the window. And Chris doesn't get out and talk to her outside of the truck like a normal person. He unlocks it and lets her in so that they can sit there alone. And I don't even want to explain this scene because it's so stupid. You want to take this one?
Sure thing. So basically the whole idea is Kyla's coming on to Mr. Sumner. she's, touching his thigh, getting super physical with him.
And he's all like, "Whoa, what are you doing?"
he, he is like a statue. He does nothing to stop her. He is literally frozen.
She gets on his lap and he's just like,
yeah.
"Whoa,
Yeah,
what? How did you get there?" It's like, dude, you let her just mount you.
Yeah. Like any sensical human being with morals would get out of the car or say, please get off of me. You're my student. This isn't right.
Instead, he's just like letting her like kiss him on the lips and stuff.
Yeah.
He acts like he has this like some kind of, supreme moral compass or whatever, but just gives in right away. Mm-hmm. And he keeps saying like, "Oh no, what are you doing?" He keeps saying that over and over again. It's like, dude, what the hell do you think she's doing?
Yeah.
She's on top of you.
And still, Kyla's mom is nowhere to be found.
Yeah, Kyla's mom's just still inside, like, has already completely forgotten about what's going on. And Kyla's just on top of her teacher, like, making out with him while he's like, whoa, what's going on? Whoa, hey, what the heck? Hey, stop it. Doesn't do anything to stop her either. And he acts like I don't think he's a bad actor, but like this dude's sitting there acting like he doesn't want it, but is just taking it,
Yeah, like it doesn't seem like he's reciprocating at all, but he's doing nothing to stop it. Which
yeah. Which is, it's like, okay, do you like, you're not trying to resist, so you must, like, I guess you do want it. And Kyla out of nowhere, Kyla goes from this girl who's like, has no friends and talk to anybody, to this girl who like comes out to her teacher's truck and has this like incredible confidence to like come on to him out of nowhere, which, okay, whatever. I guess that's part of her character. But anyway, so she comes on in, things are all awkward at school and all this stuff. And so then we get to this scene. They're at school again. They're in English class because, that's his one English class. And after class, she just walks up to him and kisses him on the lips again. He just sits there and takes it. And then after she kisses him on the lips, he's like, "Whoa, what are you doing?" It's like, dude, literally last night she was on top of you, like grinding on you and making out with you. And you're shocked when she pecks you on the lips and you didn't even try to avoid it. Like, what are you doing? The movie, like, I think it had potential to actually like be kind of like a creepy, like stalker film or whatever. But instead, like, it falls off so quickly because this dude is so like stupid, but he's supposed to be so smart. So Riley's upset with her because Kyla's mad at her for hanging out with Trisha and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And Trisha says Kyla's the one that slept with her teacher. Kyla says Trisha's the one that slept with her teacher. Apparently, Riley has no way of confirming who actually did it because I guess she can't talk to someone else at the school or check whether or not Trisha actually was in that class. Like,
and it's like not published anywhere in the local news.
Yeah, there's just no evidence of it. It's like it just got swept under the rug and nobody knew about it except for the people involved or something. And Trisha, I guess. But yeah, so that whole thing is just ridiculous. It's like, Riley, I'm sure you can figure out a way to figure out who actually slept with their teacher. Because as soon as you know that, you know who's lying to you and you know who to cut off. But instead, she's like she goes up to, Kyla's just standing at her locker like, no, she's not even at her locker. She's like 3 lockers away from her locker, just standing there. And as soon as Riley comes up and touches her on the shoulder, she walks up to her locker. It's like,
opens it up.
It's like, what are you doing? What are you looking at? There's nothing there. And I took this picture of it actually for the viewers at home. Like, what is she doing? That's not her locker. Like, she's right there. She's just standing there. And who's this homeless dude, That guy's not in high school.
Dude, that dude is 36.
Right. But and she doesn't keep a lock on her locker either, apparently, because she just opens it, and all these photos come spilling out of this selfie that it shows her take, where she's like got her shirt. She like took the straps off her shirt and just moved them down, which is apparently a slutty thing to do. It would be like if I just like did this, basically. But yeah,
Well,
all these photos come spilling out.
Yeah.
Sorry, what was that?
I was just gonna say, well, you know, that would be dress coded immediately.
Yeah. She shows up to school like that. But so she took the selfie and it just comes pouring out of her locker. And immediately I'm like, okay, she's like planted them to, because she immediately, as soon as they come pouring out of her locker, she's all upset and she runs to Mr. Sumner and shows them to him. And it's like, because there's no, like I said, there's no subtlety. Like, it's just so clear. It's like she planted them so that she could go like show her slutty photos to him, you know? And she accuses Trisha and all this stuff. It's like, how did she get the fucking photos? You didn't send them to anybody.
Yeah.
And she tells her mom about it, and her mom's just like, oh, whatever.
Oh, that's just Kyla.
Yeah, Kyla's like, they were just for me. I don't take pictures of myself naked and like keep them on my phone for myself. Not that she was naked. But...
Really? You don't?
Oh, you do?
Oh, yeah. Actually, I don't know if this is just me being
I'm the weird one. It could be your vanity.
Like looking at myself in the mirror.
Just butt naked.
Okay.
You have like all these like privated TikToks of yourself just wiener out. You leak them to one of your teachers at school. Your mom finds out and you're like, Mom, those were just for me. And how'd they find the fucking... They said, oh, we found a broken phone in Trisha's locker. What were you doing going through Trisha's locker? Whose idea was it? Like, Trisha might have sabotaged Kyla, so we need to check her locker. And none of our students use locks, so we'll just open it.
Well, yeah, that's another unanswered question from the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But, that's what makes it great. Leaves it up to the viewer's interpretation.
Yeah, that was done intentionally.
Was it, Kyla telling Mr. Sumner, look, Trish and I have extreme beef. It's probably her.
It could. That's probably the most likely thing is she threw Trisha under the bus and was like, hey, like, I think she's the one that leaked him. But why wouldn't the principal then be like, why were you sending that picture to Trisha? How did Trisha get that photo?
Yeah. There's no due process whatsoever.
No. As soon as Kyla says that someone did something, they are immediately like,
yeah, they're Team Kyla.
Yeah, Kyla just runs the school apparently because anytime she runs the whole town. Anytime something happens, Kyla's just like, oh, they did it, and they're like, okay, you're done. Come here, Trisha, you're in trouble. So, okay, let's get to the party scene.
Yep.
This is when things are really, really heat up. So Riley's throwing this big birthday bash for that 18th birthday because everyone knows your 18th birthday is the most important one. She's got like the whole school there. So Riley's actually like making friends. And Kyla's kind of like jealous of that too. But so of course Kyla pulls up because she's like, here's my chance to, seduce Mr. Sumner again. After she already has like twice. And every time he's just like, whoa, what's going on? And she goes up to Riley and gives her birthday present or whatever. And it's, I'm just going to go inside for a little bit. And Riley's like, yeah, whatever, go inside.
Even though there's no one inside. Yeah.
What is going on inside? You have nothing set up inside. She just walks into her kitchen and like looks outside for a little bit. And it's like, okay, going up to Mr. Sumner's room. She goes in there and like, takes his belt off. And the whole time he's just like, oh, like I got so much work to do. I'm so stressed.
We should. It would be wrong.
Yeah, no, we can't do this. And she's like, it's not that we can't do this. It's that we shouldn't or something like that. And oh my God, it's so
Yeah.
stupid. Because apparently she just suddenly out of nowhere has this incredible skill at like manipulating men or whatever, even though she like has no friends and all this stuff. She just like, yeah, very, very easily seduces the dude, you know. It takes nothing for him to like start laying into her or
Well,
whatever.
after the big breakup with her mom, who is he confided with? He's had no.
Right, you know, that's his only point of emotional connection, and maybe that's what he's chasing after.
Mhm.
It's not about like how she makes him feel physically. It's about like how she makes him feel emotionally. You know, he feels like he has someone that he can confide in and
Mhm.
talk to. And that's not, you know, that's not what there is no attraction there for him. You know,
Mhm.
he
It's
wants to sleep with her so he can feel better. Uh,
Yep. So it works. She
yep.
seduces him.
Hmm.
Shirts come off.
Yep.
Six packs out.
Yeah. Again, this guy, for those of you listening or
Hot.
watching, uh, I don't think I'm gonna edit this with any actual like footage from the movie, but I encourage you to go look this guy up because he is. Our words cannot do him justice. This dude is shredded, like shredded, absolutely yoked. He looks like you, Cameron.
We'll let the viewers decide whether
Mm-hmm.
that's true or not.
Yeah. So okay. So this scene's going on, right? And I write
Well,
down in my notes.
should we
What's that?
Photoshop my face onto his body and then just?
I don't think anyone would know the difference.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, maybe is he taller? He could be taller than you. And maybe people would
He's
pick up
pretty.
on that.
He's pretty big.
Yeah. But other than that, I mean, there's zero difference in your physical stature. That's all there is to it. I think they should have just cast you, honestly. But you couldn't have been her dad. Maybe they could do a sequel where like a teacher comes onto a student and then you could be the student or something.
I would
And your
love.
mom could be a teacher. That'd be perfect. Like so like they cast someone to be your mom and she's like just a normal looking teacher, but you're like the shredded student. And then it's just roles reversed. Everything's scripted the exact same way, just different roles.
And it's like I'm cast as a middle school student.
Oh, okay. Oh God.
Well, like,
They did. I will say this movie made sure not to cross any lines because they mention about 30 times that she's 18 years
yeah,
old.
there's nothing wrong with it.
Oh yeah. And she says that. That is one of the points she makes is I'm 18, mom, I can do what I want. And her mom's like, I guess you're right. It's like, what? What?
she's like, shit. You say it like that?
Shit. I mean, damn. I guess you're right. So as soon as they start hooking up, I write down, I got $100 on Riley walking in. And Riley walks in. So like immediately after I wrote that down, she's like, oh my God, what are you guys doing? Like, how could you do this, Dad? And everything, the shit hits the fan after that, basically.
Do you think Kyla wanted that to happen?
Um,
Or do you
I mean,
think,
she did, it was, yeah, I mean,
so on one hand, I feel like she likes chaos.
that's a
you know?
good question. Yeah. She does kind of thrive on chaos. It did kind of seem like she wanted it. You know, she didn't lock the door.
Mhm. True.
Like, yeah, it would make sense to me that for whatever crazy reason she wanted that to happen, you know.
Also, wasn't this in Chris's room?
Yeah.
So why was Riley going into his room?
She came up there to ask him for something. Like she starts to like say, "Hey dad, where's the," or something, and then he
Okay.
gets all mad at her for drinking. And like
Yeah.
he takes Kyla to school like the next day or something. And he's like, "Did you know?" Or no, maybe they're in the room talking about it. One way or another, at some point he's having a conversation with Kyla where she's like, yeah, she has a drinking problem. And he just completely forgets that he just hooked up with an 18-year-old student. And he's like, what? my daughter,
No.
she's drinking? And he's like confronting Riley about it at the party. Like they're just sitting there talking about, she's like, oh my God, you hooked up with my friend. And he's like, what? Why are you drinking? What the hell? And she's like, don't flip this on me. And meanwhile, like 50 people are looking at him. Like, you guys couldn't find anywhere else to do this.
Right?
In front of everyone. So that, okay. I think we need to move a little quicker here. But so Riley ends up texting Kyla's mom and being like, hey, like this happened. So Kyla's mom's freaking out about it. She ends up coming into school. Who knows how Riley got Kyla's mom's number? And again, there is no concept of time passing in this movie because it feels like everything is just happening in the span of like 3 days. But
everyone acts like they know each other like their family.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kyla's like, when Kyla's convincing Chris that his daughter's been drinking, she's like, yeah, she's been doing this forever.
It's like you've known her for like a week.
Right?
What do you know? And she tells Riley that she's her best friend she's ever had or something. It's like, you've been friends for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
What am I missing here? But anyway, so Riley tells Kyla's mom, and Kyla's mom, so English class ends because everything happens in English class. English class ends, and Kyla's mom pulls up and just slaps the shit out of this dude.
Yeah.
Just lands 2 brilliant shots on this guy. Full contact. Square to the face. Like perfect form too, you know, like elbow at a 90 degree, just boom. And he took it. He took it pretty good, but she landed some shots on this guy. But because of course she's found out about it, and everything's just in a downward spiral at this point. Like, and not to mention this. And why he's an English teacher? Why does he have a nice ass home, bro? He's all broken up about it. And he's like chilling by the pool. So you're an English teacher and you got like $1 million home.
That was such a good shot. Like,
yeah.
He was just wallowing.
Oh, that's the word I would use for it for sure. Yeah.
And you know, in the background is his $1 million home.
Yeah. This like, nice ass home. He's got this junker truck and this freaking stunning like Northwestern home or whatever it is. Just this gorgeous like red oak home with this massive backyard and pool, and this dude's on a teacher salary. Like, no, I don't think he can afford that.
Anyway, Riley comes up to him, right, while he's wallowing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, have the big heart to heart.
And she, you know, they talk about why they moved from their previous town, and I think that's when we finally find out that his wife had cheated on her, right?
Well, Riley had told Kyla that it gets a little tiny bit more detailed when they're like talking by the pool, and she's like apologizing him for whatever.
Oh yeah, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna change. Like, this should never happen. I'm gonna be a different person," you know.
I don't know if you can really just erase the fact that you have on several occasions hooked up with Riley's friend, who is an 18-year-old high school student. Let me remind you. But God, yeah, anyway. I mean, it went from 0 to 100 so quick. Like the shit hit the fan. But okay, let's get to the finger breaking scene. If you wanna kind of go in on that.
Yeah. So I don't know. Was this at the school?
Yeah, they were still at the school.
Okay, so I think they're in the parking lot. Trisha's just like minding her own business, you know, standing alone because apparently she has no friends anymore.
Yeah, and Kyla's apparently she's still at the school after what she did, but Kyla like calls her there or something.
Okay, yeah. So Kyla calls her there. Kyla pulls up, starts hitting herself. She's like, have a free shot, and just starts slapping the shit out of herself and laughing maniacally. And Trisha's over here like, what are you doing? But then again, she's not doing anything to stop it.
Yeah, she's just like, stop. Wait, stop. No. Just watching her.
And like, there's not a school administrator that you can.
Nobody around. No one.
You
No
don't
one
have.
anywhere near them.
You
Until
don't have.
guess who pulls up?
Yeah, Mr. Sumner and Riley. So they pull up. Kyle is on the ground, just broken hand,
Well,
bruised.
yeah. Well, how did she break her hand? She broke her fingers or something, or
Oh my, yeah, okay, so those school benches where it's like plastic, but it's also chain link. She puts
right?
her
Yeah, it's got
finger,
like the little holes. Yeah,
puts her finger in one of the holes and just like
just
puts
snaps it.
all her body weight on it. Like, my God, that's an aggressive way to do it.
And somehow she knew Mr. Sumner was gonna pull up right at that moment.
Yeah.
Because at perfect timing, he comes up and he's like, "Whoa, Trisha, what did you do to her?" And Trisha's like, "I didn't do anything." And Kyla's like, "She broke my hand." And he's like, "Yeah. Kyla's telling the truth after she's been hooking up with me for 3 weeks." Yeah. Oh, Kyla, I can't believe Trisha would do this to you. How could she? Calls the cops and. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
Break another person's finger. You know?
Who knows? Apparently that was Trisha's course of action as she's just standing 6 feet away from her, like,
Yeah.
"Oh, stop! Oh." Yeah, apparently Trisha was like, "Oh, fuck you."
It's quite the way to get payback over being expelled.
Just snap their fingers, like 2 fingers. I mean, okay. I guess if Trisha was really upset about it, it makes sense that she would fight her. But yeah, I don't know about the whole finger. But yeah, perfect timing. Mr. Sumner comes up and he's like, "Trisha, what'd you do?" Calls the cops. Trisha gets taken away in a squad car, and Kyla's like, "You saved me." And she ends up in the hospital, and her mom's feeling all bad for her and is like apologizing to her and like, "Oh, so you were telling the truth all along. Trisha really did plant those photos," and because apparently Trisha attacked her. And okay.
And guess who pulls up?
Yeah, for some reason Riley and Mr. Sumner decide that they need to pay her a visit after everything that he's done,
Yeah.
And Riley like talks to her briefly or whatever. And oh wait, there's one other thing. So Mr. Sumner and Kyla are talking, right? And he's like, "We don't have a little secret. We never did." And it's like, then what was that? Everybody knows about it? Is it not a secret? Are you not trying to hide it? What do you mean you never had a secret with this 18-year-old that you're hooking up with?
So that implies that the whole school knows what happened.
Yeah, if it's not a secret and they never had a secret.
That would imply that the administration also knows about it.
Right. Why are you still teaching there if you never had a secret? He's acting like this was maybe after she had just like jumped on him in the truck, but he was acting like it didn't mean anything or like nothing happened, or like even if it was after the party, like, dude, what are you denying here? You did everything that you're like acting like you didn't do. So yeah, Riley goes in and talks to her, and Kyla like tricks her into going, and she's like, "I need to get pictures of the volleyball team for work," and tricks.
Yeah.
So she tricks
Riley
into going and doing it for her, and then
Why
says,
would Riley even do that?
That's what I'm saying. If someone had just hooked up with my parent, I would not do anything for them. And she says, "Oh, I'm doing this for the school, not for you." It's like, the school's going to be fine without a couple of volleyball pictures.
And you've been at this school for a month. You have this much school pride. I commend that, but I highly doubt it.
Yeah, like, give me a break. But, okay, so.
And
she's like, "Oh, can I talk to your dad?" And she's like, "Oh, fine." It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
There's no way.
I'd be like, "Fuck no, you can't talk to my dad after you hooked up with him. We're getting out of here."
How's Kyla's mom allowing that? There's no
Yeah,
way.
well, Kyla's mom's like out there talking to him. It's like, what do you? Why?
Well, he's probably just working his charm on
Oh,
her.
his magic. Yeah, he just took his shirt off, and she's like, "Oh, I guess we can talk."
That actually just blinds her, so we can sneak in.
So yeah, but anyway, then he goes in there to talk to her because he thinks that's a good idea for some reason, and she's like calling him baby, and like talking about how they're in love. She tells her mom at one point that they're in love, which is just absurd. But I mean, at the same time, she's crazy. So
That's typical obsessive behavior.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, he's talking to her and he's telling her that they can't like see each other, and she's like, "Oh, but like we're in love and all this stuff," and he's like, "I'll quit." Like, "I'll quit." She's like, I can't remember what she says to that, but he's like threatening to quit and all this stuff, and she's all upset about it. And she's like, "You can't quit. Like, you need to like stay with me or whatever. Like, we need to be together." Like all this. At this point, she's gone like full psycho, and anyway, so he calls Riley, and because he knows that Riley went to take pictures of the volleyball game. We're getting to the opening scene now, because it shows you the opening scene and then flashes back to like the beginning of the story. So he pulls up to the school and he's like, "Hey," calls Riley and leaves her a voicemail. He's like, "Hey, I'm here." And instead of just waiting for her in the parking lot, he decides, "Oh, let's go into my classroom and talk." So he just goes and waits in his classroom. Riley's there taking photos of the volleyball team. So shows Riley walking down the hall, and you see this shadowy figure like go behind her or whatever. And it's like, okay, I think I know what's about to happen. So yeah, I don't know how, but Kyla got out of the hospital and made it to the school at the same time that Mr. Sumner and Riley got there. After she's like broken her hand, and yeah, somehow she gets out. Yeah, exactly. She has no car. She has no way of getting there, but she gets there, and she's there. And she brings her little, there's like a scalpel or something next to her on a tray. And she grabs it and takes it to the school.
Dude, the way they filmed that, it looked like she was going to like harm herself and say that Sumner did it.
That's what I was thinking, yeah. I thought she was about to like kill herself or something.
Yeah.
But then I was like, wait, what about the janitor at the school? Because that's where they're going. So yeah. It cuts to the scene, like it shows the janitor shut the lights off and stuff. And so there's a volleyball game going on. But for whatever reason, they're they're shutting all the lights off. Like they're just shutting down the school. Even at my old school, if there was a late basketball game going on, the lights and stuff were still on in the buildings, you know? Oh, yeah. Like they didn't just say, "Oh, we're shutting down the school permanently during this volleyball game." But yeah, he shuts them off. And as you could probably guess, Kyla attacks Riley and tells her there's only room for one man in his life, or one woman in his life. Yeah. Fucking stabs her in the gut with this little scalpel. And Riley's on the ground acting like she's just been, lit up by an AR-15 or something. And she's like dragging herself on the ground. It's like, you got stabbed. You can walk. And she gets up and walks later. She drags herself for like 10 feet and then gets up and walks. It's like, what?
And where's her phone in all of this? Why can't she call for help?
Yeah, she doesn't call the police or anything. She's just like, "Oh, I got to drag myself on the ground and leave this trail of blood."
She wants to be a hero. She wants to come to her dad's rescue.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and that's where Kyla is. Kyla goes in there and is like trying to seduce him again. And it's just like, it keeps cutting to the same shot of her putting the scalpel to his neck. Like even he's like this, and it shows her holding the scalpel to his neck. And then he's like this, and it shows the scalpel to his neck. It's just the same shot, like over and over again. She's like threatening him and telling him they're going to be together forever, and starts trying to take his pants off. And he's not, for once in his fucking life, he's not having it. And he's like shoving her and like, "Get off me." And they start like tussling, and he like shoves her to the ground, right? Because as you can tell by his massive fucking muscles, he is much stronger than this little petite girl. and shoves her to the ground like it's nothing. And then as he's getting ready to like leave the classroom, she like trips him and he hits his head on the desk and is out cold.
Yeah.
like apparently that's all it took to eliminate him. So this is where the janitor comes in. He hears the noise, goes in the room. The injured girl is, of course, Kyla. She's on the ground. And the janitor says he's going to go for help. And this is where I laughed. It cuts to him. He's in the hallway. And he's running to, like, go find help or whatever. And Riley pulls up on him and just grabs him and goes, run. He's already running. Why are you stopping him? And she says, run. Kyla is standing 3 feet behind him. And she, like, in full view. And Riley's like, oh my God, she's behind you. It's like, you just
killed this man.
She did, yeah. If she hadn't stopped him, he would have been fine. Instead, she's just like, no. And Kyla's just like, slits his throat, start cracking up, dude. I was like, what the hell? You just stopped this guy from, like, fleeing the scene.
He was just trying to do his job, too.
Right.
How sad.
Still, and apparently the school shut down, so we still don't know who he's going to go get help from.
Right.
Oh my God. Yeah. After getting stabbed and dragging herself for 15 feet, she can finally stand up again.
Well, and she can fight back now.
And fight back? What is that? You're telling me as soon as you got stabbed, you were completely immobilized. But the second this janitor gets murdered in cold blood because of you, you can suddenly, like, fight like a freaking ninja. She's like, what does she do? She, like, whacks her with a camera or something.
Yeah, she
They're
does.
fighting in the photo room.
Yep. Riley hits her with the camera. Kyla gets, like, temporarily knocked to the ground, but she still fights back, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then does it move over to
the cops pull up at some point?
Well,
I think doesn't she knock her out or something in the camera room? I think in the photo room.
Oh, is that how it ends? The fight scene?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she just whacks her with the camera and knocks her out, and then
Chris miraculously wakes up.
Yeah, and calls the cops. They pull up, and because he didn't think to do that any earlier.
Right.
But yeah, so
that's the end of the rising action.
Yeah. That's the big, like, the resolution almost is.
Yeah.
That So janitor's dead. Riley's getting taken away in an ambulance, and she, like, sees Kyla. Kyla's still alive. She sees Kyla getting taken away in an ambulance, and she's like, "You son of a bitch." It's like kind of anticlimactic in some ways. So you know they both survived,
right?
And that's kind of how it ends. But presumably, since
that's what you'd think.
That's what you'd think. Presumably, Kyla would just end up in jail because she sexually assaulted her teacher, physically assaulted her teacher,
and tried to kill his daughter.
Attempted murder on Riley,
as well
as actually murdering a man, as well as actually killing the janitor. Okay, so presumably she's in jail at this point, right? She's 18. She can be tried as an adult.
Mm-hmm.
So she should be, on a death row or whatever at this point. You would think.
And that's what the viewers would think.
That's what the viewers would like to think. But knowing the school, they probably just let her, like, come to school the next day or something. But
I was young. He still runs it.
Yeah, exactly.
Even from a jail cell, Kyla runs the school.
Yeah, she's like Kingpin in Daredevil. She gets thrown in jail, but she's still just absolutely dominating the city and the underground scene. But okay. So it cuts. Now they've moved again or something. I think they're in a different house. Yeah. Riley and Mr. Sumner. And she walks into his room. It's like, hey, like, are you ready for school? And he's like, yeah, just putting the finishing touches on my syllabus. And he just, like, changed the school name. It's like, what?
And the way he was typing, he was...
He's like, H-I-G-H.
There's no way you're
This English teacher is just like, what do they call that typing?
type racer.
Is that what they call it? Like where you type with just like, it's
Oh,
like
never mind.
poking. It's like poking something, or like a peck something. Anyway, so he's putting the finishing touches on his syllabus, and they have this touching moment where she's like driving to college, wherever the hell she's going now. She's still living at home, but she's taking his truck to college because I guess he's gonna walk to school or something. And out of nowhere, we see a hooded figure standing outside their home watching them.
Who might that be?
We don't know. We don't know. That is how this spooky film concludes.
My teacher, my obsession.
My obsession. Yeah. So that, I mean, that pretty much covers it, you know.
That was a lot to unpack.
Yeah, we digested a lot there. I might have to cut a significant amount out of this because I didn't expect we'd talk about it for so long. But yeah, what are your final thoughts on this movie?
You know, as I said,
and give me your review too. I'd like a score.
Oh yeah, for sure. So as I mentioned in the beginning, it's definitely one of the better Lifetime movies out there.
Mm-hmm.
If I were to give it a review, I would probably have two different scales.
Okay.
I would have a Lifetime movie scale and then just a regular movie scale. Lifetime movie scale, probably a 7.1.
Okay.
And then on a normal scale, it's probably 1.8.
Yeah. So as maybe the further we go along, we should continue to use this like Lifetime scale because for our viewers who know us,
a movie to watch.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll continue with that scale then.
I think we should because if we just continue with like Lifetime movies, you know.
Right. Yeah.
Then
fair.
Then it's perfect. But so
what would your score be?
So since I don't know how many Lifetime movies I've seen, I'm just gonna leave that blank for now, and then kind of balance that based on the other movies. Maybe I'll have other thoughts on it the further we go along. But for now, on just a normal scale, I was gonna give it a 2 out of 10, which is practically the same score you gave it. Redeeming qualities, the dad. An absolute hunk.
His attractiveness. Mm-hmm.
Yes. In some ways, it was. I don't think they executed it well, but it was, and it's nothing that hasn't been done before. You know, like the whole hot for teacher thing. But
not
I was still kind of, even though I saw where it was going, I was interested to see where it would go. So there was a little bit of that, I guess, and the acting wasn't half bad. Good production quality. So yeah, I gotta say, I think it's a 2 out of 10 for me.
And Eli, this is your first taste of what a Lifetime movie is like. Maybe not, but you know, for our sake it is. And you're in for a wild ride, my friend.
I'm excited to see where this goes. I'm excited to record more of this show with you, and I think this was a good start to it, and definitely. I think we found our footing a little bit here, and this was great. It was fun just going through it with you and discussing things.
Couldn't agree more.